Welcome to another edition of Hardcore Wrestling Rants. I am your hardcore host, Rick Head, and I'm joined by the hardcore crew. First, from the Skeldon Realms, he's the Lord Skull himself, Joseph Knight. Joe, what's going on?
Not much. Really good AEW Dynamite last night. Just can't wait to talk about it. We got some stuff to go.
Oh, absolutely. And from Lance Moss TV, he's the incomparable Lance Moss. Lance, what's shaking?
Not too much. Hell, we had, like Joe said, we had a hell of a night of wrestling last night on both sides.
Yeah, we're going to get to that a little bit later on tonight, but let's start off. Get one of the major rumors out of the way. There were rumors going around that CM Punk was talking to WWE in hopes of making a return. Punk tried to return to the WWE before he even signed with AEW, but the company wasn't interested. Now, there were reports that Punk and WWE were talking about a possible return after Punk left AEW. However, their insider's report stated that the company has no interest in bringing back Punk on any level. Joe, I think this could finally kill all the rumors about Punk, and honestly, I don't think anybody saw him going back into the company.
Well, let's just put it for what it is. There's no interest right now. That could change at any time. You know, we never say never in professional wrestling. We always say that. And when it comes down to it, you know, if a situation really gets to that point where WWE needs a ratings pop or something, they'll do it under the right and controlled circumstance. You know, so let's say never say never. All I can say is right now there is no interest. I have been reading up on this. There's a lot of workers backstage. There's a lot of, you know, production people, staff that don't really want Punk back. So I think that's if the situation that he ever did return, I think that's going to cause a lot of chaos. So I could see where they're backing away from this right now. But again, never say never, guys.
Lance, over to you. Your thoughts.
Well, I've learned something with all these years of us doing HWR. When it comes to contract stuff, believe only about none of what you hear and only half of what you read. So, because how many times have we heard Dolph was going to get fired and he finally did, but that was after about 10 damn years. Or so-and-so's going here, but they got a mysterious injury. So, I'm going to quote what Sting quoted on himself in a WCW promo. The only thing we know for sure regarding CM Punk is nothing's for sure. He could never come back, or hell, he could come back tomorrow.
Well, you know what? If you ask me, my personal take on the situation is, I think if WWE brought back Punk, I think it would bring back Punk years later, not as a wrestler, maybe as like a Hall of Famer, even if he gets inducted in the Hall of Fame. You know, Punk has a lot of bad blood in WWE. He certainly has more bad blood in AEW. I didn't think it could have gotten worse, but apparently it did. So, again, that's going to be 7 to 10 years before we see Punk in WWE. Again, you know, and that's in that capacity, not as a wrestler.
And also, who's in control of creative?
That's actually our next story. So
that is Phil's favorite fucking person.
Yeah, we are talking about Triple H. According to the PW Insider, Endeavor has put Triple H in creative control over Vince McMahon. Before the merging, PWI went on to say that Triple H is doing 99% of the booking. Joe, let me ask you this. Obviously, Vince McMahon's out of the creative picture 100%. What does that say about his idea? I wonder if he's scratching his head and thinking if this is the best idea.
Well, again, here we go with them saying he's out of the picture. Vince is still in charge of the WWE brand overall. So he can resubmit himself at any time. But before we go over at the YouTube chat room, again, you guys can check us out at Hardcore Wrestling Rants on YouTube. We have Terry 3Gs. He says, evening to all. With Trips there, Paul Levesque, Terra Rising. I'm gonna date myself with that one.
Because we know how much you love Triple H.
Oh, we all know how much I love that bastard. The only reason he's in the position he's got now because he was smart enough and dumped China and lay Stephanie McMahon. So, which is not a bad thing, but
well,
hey.
Come on, who was hotter, Stephanie or China?
Obviously,
True.
You know what? It's funny. Let me go off a little bit of off here real fast. The end, I would say, the end with China, you could see it that she wasn't that bad looking after all the surgeries and the softness. The mamacita days. How about that? We'll go with that. All the plastic was put in properly. So honestly, but he did a good move. He's with the boss's daughter, at the time, the boss's daughter, now he's in kind of uncharted territory, but, he's had more successes on recent, let me put it that way, on recent than currently, Vince has done. Paul is still up to date with stuff. So Vince was great for the 80s and the 90s. Now this is a totally different era. The wrestlers that he knew he could depend on are long gone. And I think Tripp has a better grasp on you could say the current roster. So we'll have to see how it really goes on this. So we'll just see. Like I said, again, like a previous with CM Punk, never say never because Vince is still he's the chairman of the WWE brand. He's not the owner anymore. It's a brand. If Tripp fucks up something, don't be surprised, people from TKO saying, okay, you're out. And Vince says, yes, I'm back.
Well, Lance, what's your thoughts on this?
Well, one, I've noticed that the product's been getting better the past few weeks, and the way Vince has been getting legal troubles, him getting just swooped back in there if Triple H fucks up, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, Endeavor might say, you know what, fuck this, I'm going to bring our own person in.
Yeah.
Right now, they own 51%. At the end of the day, they try to, give WWE some kind of leeway, but if something happens way down south, they're going to take over. So.
And we know when a corporation puts somebody else in charge from their side, how well that works. Let's do the hashtag, what's his name? The pizza guy from WCW.
Bill Hurd.
So, thank you. I didn't want to say it. I want to kind of throw it out
Bill
there.
Hurd,
But
Jim Hurd.
Jim Hurd. It's Jim Hurd. We've seen how bad when somebody outside of wrestling that has no idea comes in, just because, let's just put it this way. Oh, God. Just because
creative committee under Stephanie.
You know what? I don't think it will even go that far because you have to really. It's like too many egos are going to be brushed.
No, Joe, it was the soap opera writers on a wrestling creative team.
Yep, there you go.
All right, well, let's move along.
We are moving along.
Yeah.
I haven't moved up my seat yet, but guarantee if we start bringing up Saraya or somebody else, my stomach's going to move.
Well, we'll go to her in a minute. So, John Cena made his return to the WWE, but it really was no coincidence. Even during the Fastlane press conference, he stated that he returned to the WWE due to the Hollywood strike. And he said right now he's pretty much out of work. He's in the middle of doing a job which you couldn't talk about. But he said that once the strike is over, his stint in the WWE is gone. He's going right back to Hollywood. Lance, your thoughts?
Please end the strike.
Well, they are in the process. Last week they wrapped up negotiations, so.
Oh, I just thought of something.
I believe, honestly, I believe the strike is over.
No, that's the writer's strike.
Oh, the writer's strike.
Yeah.
Okay, so they got it halfway.
Yeah, pretty much. It's still, again, it's wrapping up. It's not complete, but I think it'll be within a week, if not 2 weeks. We'll see that strike finally come to an end. According to PW Insider, Jack Perry's indefinite suspension has been quietly changed. Apparently, AEW is just looking for the right spot to bring him back in. But here's the question, guys. I want to question both of you. When they bring back Jack Perry, I'm not saying whenever they do, are they going to bring him back as a heel or a babyface? Lance, your thoughts?
Okay. They need to keep him heel. Because I hope while he's been suspended, he's been working on the heel persona. Because he just had, a 2-month run, and he was just starting to change over to and reimagine himself under the heel thing.
That's true. And he had only.
I kind of like to see where he goes with it.
Yeah, because the only feud he has was with Hook. Joe, your thoughts?
Oh God, yeah, that feud with Hook was gonna go places. He needs to come back. He needs to come back as a heel. And as funny as this sounds, he needs to be with Christian and Luchasaurus. They need to push that narrative. They need to push it like, look, told you how they'll use you and how they screwed you over. I think this will be a perfect opportunity because Christian is one of the most hated guys currently in AEW. I think if you did a poll and say, hey, who is the most hated guy in AEW? Don Callis is there. You have, whatever contingents are there. But Christian is right now that top monster heel. So until MJF decides to switch up again. But at this point in time, Jungle Boy, Jack Perry, whichever you want to call him, I think now he should be outgrowing the Jungle Boy gimmick. Mm-hmm. I think he can actually come back as a better evil Jack Perry. So again, he needs to go to Christian, be the heel, enjoy the heel run.
All right, me, I could have gone either way because I am a fan of Jack Perry. I wasn't too crazy about the heel gimmick, but I guess it was still. I guess I was still trying to get used to the turn. So I guess we'll just have to see what happens. Moving along, Ricky Starks and Big Bill defeated FTR for the AEW Tag Team Championship this past Saturday on Collision. At first, many thought that it was a loss. The loss was due to Cash Wheeler being injured during the match. However, more recent reports state that this was actually set up for a future match. So, that was a work, I guess. Apparently, to what they're saying, Rovers. Joe.
First of all, I think this is a good idea. And there is a legitimate injury to one of the FTR guys. I believe it was Cash Wheeler. So this is, I think FTR, who's a high impact team, who's done one of my favorite teams. And normally I don't go along with most of the teams today. I'm an 80s guy, Road Warriors, Midnight Express, and so forth. But as a pure tag team with the understanding of psychology, with the tag team double teaming and everything, they fit that mold. And it was a good idea to kind of step back and kind of let them take this break. Ricky Starks has been in this company from pretty much day one, and Rock Jr. needs a bona fide win. Singles titles are all tied up. You got Orange Cassidy now with the international title. That could have done well for Ricky Starks. The TNT title's kind of tied up right now. The world title's tied up right now. So giving them these world tag team titles, really helps these guys along. And let's talk about Big Bill. We've seen him as Big Cass. He teamed with Enzo Amore. He had some success, but never really captured full gold. Now he's in a rival company, because remember, he was with WWE some time ago. Here he is, and he's in the right place at the right time, and he's with the right person to help him. He's the muscle. Starks is the technical guy. I think if you really push these guys, give them their due, they could be successful tag team champions, in my opinion.
All right. Lance, your thoughts?
Honestly, I was actually a little shocked when it happened, because I figured FTR were just coming down to the ring to do an interview or something. Because I was watching this while I was getting ready for Fastlane on Saturday. But, well, I thought that it was just Big Bill and Ricky Starks hitting the ring and doing a beatdown. And then I heard and knew. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, well, like I said, Joe pointed out that Starks definitely needs the title, and I think tag titles is definitely a step in the right direction for him.
Yeah.
And let's look one more thing before we go off this, Rick. They are heels. So right now, can you imagine? This kind of opens them up now, because now they can have those good matches with the Young Bucks. I don't think the Bucks should win. I think this team should at least not be transitional champions. You've got the best friends. You've got, the other team members. So let's see that. Over in the YouTube chat room, there he is. Fat Boy Presentations. We all know who that is. It's a surprise that FTR is in the fashion. I believe he says lost in the fashion. In that fashion.
The way they did. I understand what he was saying, Fat Boy.
You know what? It's no surprise. I think they, with the injuries, these, again, high impact team, I think they realize it. It's kind of good to move out of there and give the belts to somebody else. Circulate the belts. We haven't had that for some time.
Yeah.
And but he also said, he says, funny that both WWE and AEW tag team titles switch hands on the same day. That's a good point. I did not know that, Rick.
Yeah. Well, I actually didn't even watch Fastlane, but that's an interesting point that the titles changed hands. I'm not sure if that was like a competitive issue. I think that was just they're doing their own thing. It just happened to be a coincidence on that night, but it is an interesting point. Last night's Title Tuesday. We actually saw two titles change hands. First, Hikaru Shida defeated Saraya to become the 3-time AEW Women's Championship.
Thank fucking God.
I knew you were going to be saying this one, Joe. And honestly, I have to agree with you, Joe. With Saraya being the champion, I was kind of like, she doesn't really need the title. Hikaru Shida, I don't think she needs to be a 3-time, but I think she's going to be a transitional champion. Despite as much as I respect her, and I think she's an excellent wrestler, I'm not sure, Lance, if she's going to hold on to this title for too long.
I'm just going to say this. Hikaru Shida, deep clean that belt. We know what Saraya does with championship belts. I'm just saying.
Yes. Put it like this, for layman's terms. If you need cream in your coffee, just go get that belt.
Oh, Jesus. And then, of course, we saw Orange Cassidy win the International Championship.
Wait a minute. He moves on and he doesn't give me a chance to put the slut down.
You already put the slut down, so I figured, okay, go ahead, Joe. Go on with your rant.
Right. You know what? First of all, I got to commend. She did a good match. She did go in there and do a good match. I did like that freaking what's her broken transitional
Ruby
Nora
Soho.
Nora Desmond wannabe, and that's a name that you probably
Timeless
Tony Storm with her freaked out gimmick. You know, she's a 1960s star. Did you guys have? You know what? Let's go a little bit. Did you see during the commercial break?
I did see the
stuff she was
Timeless.
doing
Yes,
in
I did see the promo.
Not that she did like a little movie while there was commercial, and she's doing all these outrageous silent movie shit. She's driving a car. She's in a room with a green screen, and she's doing all these like miming everything. It's like fucking a mime is a terrible thing to waste, and she was not only wasting it, she was fucking destroying it. You know, she was doing so much weird shit that I'm glad they went to commercial. I think that's why they did this. You know, the gimmick is stupid. The girl is stupid. I think the whole thing, Ruby Soho, Saraya, and the whole shit is stupid. So, but the cool thing is that Mask Girl came in. You know it's a girl. We don't know. Could have been something else. And with a spray paint, try to spray paint Saraya. And excuse me. We wish they would spray paint Saraya, maybe poison her. But they try to spray paint Sharita. And it turns out to be Ruby Soho, completely covered up from head to toe in an outfit. So
yeah, actually, Saraya also got that, if I'm not mistaken, got some spray paint too, because she tried to spray paint her. This is towards the end of the match, and so it's Hikaru, Shida, and Saraya going back and forth, and of course Shida wound up getting the upper hand, and she wound up spraying her. The match.
Yeah. What was funny about that too is, you know, Shida turns the spray back on Ruby Soho. She's blind, and here comes, you know, terrifying Tony Storm. She comes in and does her shenanigans. They go out. Ruby and her go out. You know, they spray. Now, here's the thing. The spray actually defeated Shida. Here's the spray again, and she's immune to it somehow, and rolls and pins Saraya. Not that I'm complaining that Saraya lost the belt, but doesn't that kind of throw off the whole paint routine?
I think it does, but over in the chat room, Fat Boy said that why give Saraya the title in the first place? Well, I'm guessing it's two reasons. First and foremost, probably a contractual thing, and secondly, you know, she's a former WWE star, and unfortunately, right now, Tony Khan has a hard-on for former WWE wrestlers. So it was no shock that it was, you know, that Saraya eventually got the title.
Well, that and where she got the belt was in England, and
yes,
they probably wanted to give it to Jamie Hayter, but
Hayter's out of injury.
Unfortunately, she's hurt.
Yeah.
Well, that and plus, you know, the slut's mom, the bigger, older slut, was at ringside at Wembley show, so they had to give it to her.
You know,
but
I've got to say it.
Go ahead.
It's Joe at ScoldingStone.com.
Thank you. You know what? I've been ranting and I've been trying to put the word slut so much. Wait for Lance to deliver that line. So there you go.
And real quick, another Terry 3G said that Shida was a good move onto the champ. Will allow them to have her battle with various other women in the title until they decide to put it on someone else. So
good point.
Absolutely. All right, and Terry said it was because they wanted to put it on England, as Lance said. Yeah, so he pretty much said that as to why Saraya first got the title in England. Let's move along. Another title changed hands. Orange Cassidy got the International Championship for the third time. No, I'm sorry, the second time. Forgive me, guys. And
it's the second or third?
It's the second. I thought it was his third. That was my mistake. And he defeated Rey Fenix. So, honestly, I'm kind of glad that Orange Cassidy got the title back. You know, I think he probably needed that break, that time off, because he was working week in and week out pretty much every show. And you could tell the Battle Scars was starting to tally up. So I think they did this just to give him some time off. So, Joe, your thoughts on Orange Cassidy becoming a two-time international champion.
You know what? I think it was a good move because Ray wasn't a good worker. I mean, he's a good worker, but as a champion, no, he's a good tag champion, and I hope things, he just needs to stay in tag teams. This kid cannot compete on a different level. Um, Orange Cassidy was a quick sub for Moxley. We don't know what actually wrong with Moxley. Maybe Renee tied him up and said no, trying to keep him safe from Zoe. So we don't know what happened with Mox. So, but I think if Mox
we saw what happened.
There,
that was what happened with Ray Phoenix during his match. The word is that he was supposed to retain the title, but of course they had to call an audible due to the injury. So that's where Phoenix got the championship. But as you said before, he's a tag team champion, not really a singles guy. And don't get me wrong, I'm not discrediting Ray Phoenix on any level. He's a phenomenal wrestler, but as a tag team wrestler. So,
so I think, the idea of putting Orange Cassidy back in that role, I think this opens up to a bigger match with him and Moxley now down the road, because last time those two finally, they did a great match last time. So I think this time, they should take that match to the next level. And Terry 3D says Zoe finally got Mox. Maybe that's probably what it is, Rick.
Oh, what do you mean Moxley gave her head?
Well, I think Zoe took the head. I don't know. Maybe she tied him up.
Well, we definitely know she tied him up. She's definitely claimed it several times, not necessarily on the show, but.
Well, we know things that we can't say on air.
Exactly. So, but honestly, I have to say I was really happy with Title Tuesday. I thought it was a great thing. However, unfortunately, viewers did not necessarily agree with me. NXT drew. NXT drew 921,000 views with a .30 rating in the 18 to 19 demographic. Well, AEW's Dynamite edition of Title Tuesday only drew 600,009 viewers with a .26 rating. Now, we were talking about this before the show started because, throughout the Wednesday Night Wars, AEW was dominating Dynamite, but this week, AEW was dominating NXT, but they definitely boosted up this week. They had several wrestlers, people such Paul Heyman was there, Cody Rhodes was there, John Cena was there, and Asuka was there as well. Joe, your thoughts?
Well, you know what? We expected this. People could say, "Oh, nobody thinks AEW is, is competition." Eric Bischoff, on his podcast, 83 Weeks, he says, "Well, WWE doesn't consider AEW competition." I got to disagree. Look at how this Tuesday's battle was. They did not want to lose a battle to AEW, even though it's one night, conceded as one night. But so what did they do? They filled up. I predicted this. They were going to stack this card. They were going to put as many faces on there. The sad part is, yes, you mentioned Cody Rhodes, John Cena, Asuka. They had The Rock's daughter in a more prominent role with Paul Heyman. The sad part is that they gave those roles to these veterans and people from major brands instead of depending on their regular NXT talent, which are very good on their own. So this kind of says, hey, you know what? They pretty much felt like they have to stack the card, and they felt like their NXT wrestlers could not compete against AEW. So, Rick, I think stacking up the card was a good idea. It kind of makes solid the WWE brand, who are all still looking for a network for their other brands. So, out of all this, the sad part is, yes, it boosted up. It gave them high ratings for NXT for the first time, but it also pushed the NXT talent who have been there aside just to come for these other people to take a prominent role in TV time.
Yeah, actually, you talked about everybody who came on, and it seemed that they had more segments than they actually did matches. I'm referring to NXT. They had the Jade Cargill spot too as well. So I'm trying to figure out. I don't even know how many matches they had. Lance, you watch NXT. Can you tell me how many matches they had that night?
I'm gotta admit something that night, because as heavy as non NXT people they had on there, I was watching AEW.
Yeah, well,
Because, I mean, John Boy, whoopie damn do, Paul Heyman, okay. I mean, he ain't gonna try to manage the next damn champion. Taker, I mean, hell, he ain't gonna be like,
was he on
I'm a
there?
big
I heard that
wrestler,
there were
rest
rumors
in
he was
peace
there.
shit. So that's why I watched AEW.
Yeah, not to
They
cut
had
you
the
off.
gong. They had the gong. They didn't have anything else, just the gong.
No,
Oh.
Taker was there at the very end of the show.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the very end of the show.
Must have
Okay.
missed that.
Yeah.
So, but I find it funny that this is once called a developmental show for developmental talent, and yet here are all these legends and superstars coming down to boost it up.
Yeah.
And this is not the first week they've done it. They've been doing this for the past couple of months. Becky Lynch was the NXT champion at one point.
Still is.
Yeah. Oh,
Yep.
so she still is. Okay.
And again, Rick, this is a bad pattern for both brands, because look on AEW side, at one show you're gonna boost it up. Obviously, you're gonna have Edge, you're gonna have Christian, or Adam Copeland. You're gonna have Edge, Christian. You're gonna have Daniel Bryan. You're gonna have Saraya. You're gonna have so many former WWE talent getting in here just to boost this show. Again, it's not a bad thing, because ratings is what builds up a product. This is how you get sponsors. This is how you get more television offers. The sad part, again, is like you're pushing down your other talent. So, and again, this sends a clear signal to everybody in NXT, NXT, AEW, even the main WWE brands. Learn the craft. Learn to start developing your character, ring psychology, promo skills. Because Lord knows, on both companies, nobody knows how to shoot a fucking real promo except MJF and Christian. So, I think this is a time that both brands and the workers in them, who are lowercase underneath these former, veterans, they need to do stuff. When you have the Undertaker coming out, wheeling him out, hey, that kind of tells you, well, these people suck. They can't compete with us. So yeah. I would like to hear what you guys think about that.
Well, all right. Real quick, I want to go over some of the comments by Fat Boy. It said there was only 4 to 5 matches. I know that NXT, AEW, had, I think it was 6 or 7 matches. And that does not include that bullshit, pre-show with Eddie Kingston and I forget his name, but all that was just a slap fight, which I don't even consider that a match. But Fat Boy also went on to say Asuka's match was a breakout tournament match, pub match, NXT title match, Carmella's match with Taker at the end. And honestly, a lot of these titles just we saw some tag titles and title matches over on AEW. There's a couple obviously on NXT, but again, I just don't follow NXT and WWE. It just seems too predictable. It just has that cookie cutter flavor that NXT used to have before it went onto a network. But some of the other matches that was on AEW, there was a Square Strickland defeated Bryan Danielson. No, I'm sorry, Danielson beat him with a psycho knee, and that was a pretty good match. Let me ask you guys this. What did you guys think about Power Hobbs dominating Chris Jericho? He didn't just beat him. He just dominated him. He had one knee on him and got a 3-count show.
And that was the proper way you want to do it. It's, here's a guy that has been so pushed down. And even Jericho realizes it. They need to build this up. They needed to push this guy further up. So what better way to make your attention than to push some of these guys over the former WWE guy, WCW. Chris Jericho is the perfect example of a guy who understands the business. He understands the business that it's sometimes you got to elevate some of these guys. Hobbs was done. What he did was exactly what I would do. You don't put him in a match long time. You don't make him be a wrestler that he's going to just armbar you and all that. No, you make him dominant. You keep doing that. And Swerve Strickland, great match with him and Daniel Bryan. I'm glad they elevating him up. And he didn't lose cleanly. Obviously he lost because Adam Page came out. So his thing is not tarnished. So both guys, Strickland and Hobbs, I think they put on a hell of a match. I think they are ready for bigger, better pushes. So Jericho giving the nod to Hobbs was a perfect example of a guy who understands the business and willing to hand it off to these guys. And Hobbs needed this push. I don't know where he's going to go from there. I don't know if he is with Don Callis, so maybe that will work for him.
Yeah, and again, that could be another push. Lance, your thoughts on Powerhouse Hobbs dominating Chris Jericho?
Well, I mean, it's like Joe said, as much as they jobbed him and pushed him down, you got to give the dude something. So, and it's been said a million times, Jericho has never been afraid to put anybody over because, well, now as they used to call Scott Hall, right now he's Teflon. He can basically do no wrong. So, and he'll still be over. So, honestly, the right decision.
All right. One other match I do want to cover was Wardlow. This is the second match he's had in the past 2 weeks where he pretty much just picked up the guy and just dominated him. This week it was Matt Sydal. Last week I didn't know who it was. But he walked out, destroyed the guy in a matter of seconds. I don't even think he got the count. I think the referee just stopped the match. And before he even gets his hand raised, he rolls out of the ring, jumps up over the guardrail, and walks out through the crowd. So, is this some kind of a story building, Joe, or is this? I don't know what to make of it, to be honest with you.
To be honest with you, I didn't know if he was just. I obviously I think this is going to be a storyline in the making. Maybe he's pissed off at AEW for not giving him the push. That could lead to, but he's already done this twice in a row, and then he's left the same way. I think this is a storyline where he's just pissed off and tired of people abusing him, and not getting his proper due. He was TNT champion at one time.
Twice, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. And I think this is kind of like no games now. I'm just going to dominate, beat the hell out, and I'm going to leave. Screw you, screw everybody, I'm leaving. So they did the right thing over in the chat room on YouTube. Fat Boy says, James says, eat, sleep, powerbomb, repeat. That's their Brock Lesnar version. I got to get that, Terry 3G says Edge's match with Luchasaurus started out looking terrible, and then by the end of it, was just barely above okay. Kind of confusing, but he got the win and it helped Christian's story. I think that's out of that match between Luchasaurus and Adam Copeland, Rick. I think the biggest story was him and Christian.
Yeah, I was getting that feeling too. Again, I liked them. It was okay for a match, but for his debut match, I guess that's the best way you could do it because obviously you don't want to start him off with Edge right off the. Christian right off the start. So I guess it's a way of building that kind of a story. So.
If I could interject real quick,
sure.
I think the whole thing with Edge getting attacked from the back and the way they had that little guy come in. What is his name? Nick or something? You know,
Nick
he
Wayne.
yes, him coming in, they doing the thing. I think that was a great way to like introduce, Edge, Adam Copeland. I'm always going to call him Edge because that's what I'm used to. He is now introduced to a whole new roster. So you guys got to understand, even Terry, I know the match wasn't great, but to start, I think it was great because Christian got so much heat from this. Edge came out, didn't know Luchasaurus. He could have probably said, I faced someone like you before, but he had a red mask and could produce flames, and there's probably a lot more better than you if he wanted to really push that. But he didn't. He gave Luchasaurus a lot. And that's, again, a great. You don't want Adam Copeland dominating. You want him to be vulnerable because this is a new roster. I can honestly see him not having any problems with the kid Nick Wayne, with Darby Allin, or anybody small. But no, you're in there with Luchasaurus, who's a good worker. So the whole match was really good. Confusing at the end, but they did it in a way that it made sense. I thought they were going to do something when Edge took the TNT title, hit Luchasaurus, gave it back to Christian. Luchasaurus turns around, sees Christian with the belt, thinking, what the hell just happened? I was hoping they were going to kind of do something more with that, but then Edge got the spear and it was over. Good. It was balanced. That's the best way to say it.
All right, Lance, your thoughts?
Well, a little bit of a backtrack. If you look, and I didn't quite see the Wardlow match because I was doing my show, but if you look at from last week, if you looked at his wrist, it had 3 letters written on his wrist tape. Those letters were M, J, F. I think Wardlow has a target.
Oh, I did not know that.
Interesting, because right now
I did not see that.
MJF is kind of a huge storyline with the Bullet Club Gold. Jay White, who actually currently has his title, and then Juice Robinson. I guess there was a lot of controversy because he was going to use a roll of quarters to hit him, and I guess that it was for some reason it came some kind of around a controversy, and I'm like, okay, I didn't get it, but all right.
Well, here's the thing. Now they also need some time to rebuild Wardlow, like build him back up. He's been out of action, about a year?
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. He was out of action, and he came back, and he was even said at a couple of conventions that he was frustrated and angry because they have nothing for him. He's like, I just want to wrestle. I'm sitting here on my ass doing nothing. I'm in perfect health, perfect shape, and all summer I've done nothing. So I'm wondering again if they're gonna bring that kind of a storyline into it. I'm just gonna come here. I'm just gonna fight whenever you want, and then might even be the heel role of like fuck you AEWA, fuck you Tony Khan, kind of like disgruntled employee, so to speak.
Yeah.
And before anything, Brian Cage was in that same position as well. He was like pissed off because he's a big jack dude. He wants to be used. He wants to get TV time, and then they finally stick him into that group, with Prince Nana, and it's like, I would have not put him in there, but I would have gave something more prominent.
Well, he's a Ring of Honor, so.
Right, so I think that helps, but right now, Wardlow, I think this is the gimmick they're pushing now. I'm going to obliterate everyone until I get noticed. And I can't remember who in the past did that. I don't know if that was because Terry 3G says Wardlow, how they're using him reminds him of a Taz Goldberg thing. And I kind of feel the same way. And also a Brock Lesnar where he goes in, destroys, and just leaves. So we'll have to keep an eye on Wardlow. But Lance, I didn't even notice he had that tape that says MJF. So, that's another big target on his back, on MJF's back.
Yeah, well, and Fatboy also pointed out that AEW really doesn't push the big, strong guys like Vince McMahon does. So, and Terry followed up. Prince Nana looks like Prince Banana looking at R-Truth. That's I like that one. So, but honestly, despite AEW losing the ratings, I didn't care. I personally thought it was a great show. I had very few complaints, and I usually don't watch Rampage or Collision on the weekends because I'm usually gone for the weekend. But Monday morning I put it on and I pretty much just watch those two shows, and they're usually a good show. So, but
yeah.
I just can't watch WWE. I can't bring myself to watch it because I get bored after 20 minutes because the first 15 minutes, what happens? There's a 15-minute promo, and then a commercial, and then a recap, and then maybe if you're lucky a match. It's just ridiculous.
And then they'll come back to another promo.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Fat Boy even said in 2 hours they only had 4 to 5 matches. AEW always has at least 6 or 7 matches. So.
I'm going to toss something in real quick. This is a little historical thing for everybody to look back on. Maybe you can Google it and find it. The storyline with Adam Cole and MJF, where Adam Cole is, MJF is calling Adam Cole and he's sometimes don't answer the phone or he's busy or something. Kind of reminds me, take this back to the Hulk Hogan, Mr. Wonderful storyline where Hulk Hogan, WWF champion at the time, this was 1986, took under his wing a babyface Paul Orndorff, who got betrayed by Roddy Piper. They did this whole thing where Orndorff is calling Hogan, who was in a gym, and Hogan didn't have time for him. And it just kept building up and building up and building up. And it got to the point where Orndorff betrayed Hogan and rejoined the Bobby Heenan family. So I'm kind of seeing where this is going to turn, and you're going to see Adam Cole betray MJF before MJF could betray him, and him join Roderick Strong and all these, Jay White and all these other guys. So
not Jay White, actually, he's joining the Kingdom.
The Kingdom, yes. So I think that's the kind of the scenario. So if you go back, compare the two scenarios.
Yeah.
It's actually so close to that.
Well, so right now, Adam Cole's going to be out for at least another 6 months because he has 2 surgeries that he has to do for his ankle. And I would not be surprised if he did come back, a short term as a babyface because they still have the Ring of Honor championships. Even if they drop that, he still has to, come back as MJF's friend until, he possibly could, stab him in the back. So, and that would probably push Adam Cole as a heel and push MJF more as a babyface, which right now, believe it or not, is actually working for him. I didn't think it would work.
Well, I kind of say MJF is the tweener. He still hits the zingers. This is again what a great worker he is and promo guy. He's like at this point he's Roddy Piper doing the zingers, doing everything. He'll antagonize the villains the same way he antagonized the baby faces. So he's in that right thing. I don't understand. Maybe they're doing a gay gimmick with that guy from the Acclaim, whatever, the fucking DJ moron, whatever the fuck his name is. But you know what? I don't want to see that. The Acclaim have built themselves from the goofs they are to become championship goofs. For now, for them to kind of be on the outs because one member is gay. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but for him, out of everybody else, and then his infatuation with MJF, I think there's something deeper going on. And I don't mean hopefully nothing that MJF is getting deeper in the ass with this guy.
And even the other two, even Billy Gunn and the other member of the Acclaim are going, what are you doing?
Yeah, honestly, I want these guys remind me right now a lot of the AEW's version of the New Day. Wouldn't you guys agree with that, Lance?
What better?
But better.
Yeah.
Honestly, I wasn't too much of a fan of the Acclaim when they first came out. Even though I still hate their promos, their opening promos. I don't need to. I have to hit the mute button because it's too fucking annoying. But then again, Joe, I just hate rap by default.
Yeah, I vehemently hate rap and hip hop. I know there's people that love that, and I know there's people that's their thing. Me, no, I can't stand it. I think it's gibberish. It's like an elementary school kid going, yo, 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 it's crime time. It's stupid shit like that. It shows no lack of, it shows lacks of intelligence to be a rapper or a so-called rapper hip hop artist. Curse a storm, hate the police, take drugs. That's it. That's your rap star in a nutshell. Kill each other off. That's your rapper. When you compare the Acclaimed and the New Day, I have to disagree because the New Day has more talent, and they got over for themselves because they were all kind of generally new. Yes, Xavier Woods was, been in the business a little longer, you know, uh, but I gotta say the New Day was more uh, funny in their own way, and they did their things. The Acclaim has their scissors, which is still shocking to me. Like, okay, yeah, I don't mind seeing two lesbians scissor one another. That's okay. We'll can deal with that. But to see these two guys scissor is kind of like, I hope you guys are in the right position to do the scissoring.
Well, at least they're just using their hands. So
Yeah.
At least we hope. We don't know what's going on backstage. I know Soraya will be in that. Like, oh yeah, put me in that scissors.
Terry 3G said real quick. New Day, more like Too Old Day, and they are way overdue to be ended. And you know what? I have to agree. I think New Day now, especially with Big E out on neck injury, I think they've kind of gone out and just kind of fizzled out. So they're just on life support right now.
Here's quick, Rick. You know what? Why the New Day has it over on the Acclaim?
Why is that?
Because one member of the New Day actually got to screw Soraya.
And here's the thing with the New Day. They've been around damn near 10 years. It's time to let the New Day have a tomorrow.
Yeah, you know what? That's perfectly said.
Been together for 10 years?
Yes.
Well, close. I mean, it was 2014, and this is 2023, so it's getting pretty damn close.
9 years they've been together.
Old. Do I feel fucking old?
All right, one last piece of news we're going to cover, and then we're going to wrap this up. Nick Nemeth announced to Twitter that he and his brother, Ryan Nemeth, who's better known as Dolph Ziggler, will be doing a duo comedy show next month called Hunk-A-Mania. As of right now, it's not clear if or when Ryan Nemeth will be signing with AEW. We've heard about the rumors about the possibility of Ziggler signing with AEW. Let me ask you, Lance. Now that he's going to be hanging out with his brother, you think his brother's going to try to reel him into AEW?
Yes. And I think it's a good idea. It's just, let's face it, Dolph can't sign till damn near the new year because, well, he's still got that 90-day thing.
Oh, yeah.
So
no,
it's
obviously.
Going to be close to 2024. So.
It'll probably be in January, I'm guessing. So, Joe, your thoughts on Ziggler possibly signing with AEW? Would that even be a good idea?
Oh, absolutely. The guy is still in phenomenal shape. I think personally, him helping his brother, even if it's a short term, just to get his brother over as a tag team, maybe they'll be the hunks or whatever, the Zigglers. You never know. They can't use the name, but they can come up with something. The Nesmiths, that doesn't sound really
the show offs.
Yeah, something like that to get them moving. It'd be funny if they were called the Showstoppers and they both did the freaking super kick.
No, there's too many of them motherfuckers that do super kick in AEW.
Yeah, I
No,
know.
I think honestly they're gonna be just called, the hunks, the Hollywood hunks, because that's pretty much what Ryan now calls himself as a solo. So, and
Yeah, I go ahead, Rick. I'm
but
sorry.
here's another thing: I have to wonder if him signing with Ryan, his brother, if that would be a good thing. I'm wondering if he should go in solo, because Ziggler,
Yeah.
he's a great wrestler, but he's never really had a strong title reign in the WWE.
Well,
no, because the last time he had one, it ended with him having a fucking concussion.
Yeah, exactly.
well, but here's the different scenario. God, did I just sound like fucking Vince Russo? This is a different scenario. The difference here is, unlike before with tag team partners, this is his actual brother. So, while Nick, Ziggler, whatever you want to call him, while he's still, he's still able to kick and keep going, he wants to help his brother up because he doesn't really need wrestling right now. He's got his comedy stuff. Lord knows he could probably do movies. He can take some time off, be a part-timer in AEW and do indies and conventions now, because that could be a great thing for him. It's right now, I think if he did come back, it would help to help his brother off and then go off in a different direction. Because right now, he has no real reason to return to wrestling at this time. To help his brother, most likely, because even his brother must know getting a rub from someone like Ziggler would help. Terry Treaty says, "Bro, I might have to hit a few bunks just to get to that level of freaking Riddle." Ooh, look, pretty lights. Oh, look at a kitty talking. It's. But I think Rick, if he did come in, it would be as a tag partner just to help his brother off. Maybe kind of encourage AEW, give him some shots, give him some leeway, and maybe help him move. Maybe just take him into Ring of Honor and get him going there until the time comes, and maybe Ziggler can break. But right now, the best thing for him will be to team with his brother, help his brother get established better.
All right. Well, we are going to wrap up this edition of Hardcore Wrestling Rants. I want to take this time to thank Fat Boy, also known as James, and Terry 3G, who hangs out in our chat room. And for those of you who haven't been to our HWI chat room, you can check us out on Wrestling Rants. And we're in the group section. We're here every Wednesday night at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. So we also, if you got a chance, please hit the subscribe and like this video if you're a viewer. And Joe, you're over at Golden Realms. Tell everybody about it.
I'm taking a break from that. I have so many things going on right now. I am going to come back, but I'm going to be doing it differently. It's going to be recorded, but that's not going to happen right now. I got other things I have to take care of first. But, if you guys want to see the old stuff that I still have up there, you can just do the hashtag Scoldrens Realm. I am on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Just do the hashtag Scoldrens Realm. I did from retro to current, PC to consoles. So make sure you just check those out. I'm also on Twitter at Scoldren. And I gotta say one thing, Rick. Can I put in one little thing, a poll for everybody to vote on?
Absolutely.
Can we do that?
Oh, sure.
Who has the best ass in a women's division? It's either Toni Storm Saraya or what is her name? Sky Blue.
Oh.
Maybe
between those three, I have to go Sky Blue all the way. I don't know about you, Lance.
Yeah. Now, if we're going by anybody in the whole company, I'd go with, Ty Mello.
Ty Mello.
You know what? I'm going to throw one more person in there, and she's not a worker. She's a referee, Audrey. I think she has a great ass, too. When the camera catches it right.
She's got a great ass, but again, I want to see the whole ass. So, seeing her in pants, okay, I need to see her in like a bikini or some other gear for me to make a full judgment. So, I'm going with Sky Blue.
Sky Blue it is.
All right.
And again, if you folks out there who listening to the show, you want to comment best ass in AEW. Let's get this going. Maybe we can submit it to AEW and they'll send us a picture of a great ass.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's not Rikishi's.
Well, Rikishi was never in AEW, so I think you get nothing to worry about. You might have to worry about Nyla Rose, though.
Oh, God, no. But then we'll see something else hanging between there.
All right. So for the Hardcore Crew, I am your hardcore host, Rick Head, saying we'll see you when we see you.
Buy this shirt.